Hello everyone, Jason Warren for DT Met, and today we'll be discussing the pattern change that's coming up this week that's going to bring some relief to the West Coast and increasingly colder weather to areas east of the Rockies, along with the threat for some wintry weather by the end of the week. So far this month, the weather across North America has been dominated by a jet stream, an extended jet extending all the way from Asia across the Pacific Ocean into western North America, and this has allowed multiple storms to impact the West Coast, bringing heavy precipitation into portions of the West, especially into California. This has also flooded the pattern across the United States with Pacific air and prevented any outbreaks or intrusions of Arctic air from the north. A strong and relatively stable polar vortex has prevented this jet stream from moving much over the past couple of weeks. However, that's going to change as we move through time, and this jet stream is going to begin to buckle as the polar vortex begins to shift around and weaken a bit. As that jet stream across the Pacific begins to move, we'll begin to see some buckles and some ridging develop across the West Coast, with storminess heading up into Alaska, and that's going to help to dislodge some of the cold air that's sitting up near the pole and send it down through parts of North America and into the United States. The pattern coming up will not be like the one we saw at Christmas, where we saw one large Arctic outbreak sweep over the entire country, but instead will be one where Arctic air gradually moves in phases and in steps across the country, as the southeastern ridge across the southeast U.S. will be slow to yield and slow to break down. Eventually, though, we will see some pretty intense Arctic air become entrenched across Canada and into the northern U.S. as we head into the last days of January and into the beginning of February. As the cold air presses southeastward and butts up against the southeastern ridge, we're going to see an active storm track develop across the southwestern U.S. and up through the southern plains and into the Ohio Valley and mid-Atlantic. And several storms are expected to track across this region through the end of the month and into the beginning of February that will bring the threat for icy conditions and even snow to the north and west of the storm tracks. The first system, the one that will usher in the first round of cold air across much of the central United States, will move out of the Rockies and up through the Plain States and into the northern Great Lakes Monday and Tuesday. A second system will track further south and bring a swath of snow from the Central Plains to the Great Lakes later this week. After this time, another system coming out of the southern Rockies will likely eject out into the southern plains and then into the Mississippi Valley as cold air continues to press down from the northwest. This storm will likely take a track somewhere from the Great Lakes to the mid-Atlantic, with the track yet to be determined. Overall, the pattern moving forward is much different than what we've seen during the beginning and the middle of January, with the last vestiges of warmth along the east coast exiting and cold air dominating the west and beginning to move into the central U.S. during the 8 to 14 day outlook. The precipitation outlook is also far different than what we've experienced earlier in the month, with drier weather expected along the west coast, at least drier than average, with above average precipitation expected across much of the remainder of the country as we head into the end of January and the beginning of February.